Components are one of the most important aspects of our design. The basic concept about components is that we can save our design elements, whether they are icons, cards, or almost everything, as a component in order to use it later whenever we want throughout the design process. We can access our components from our assets panel, and sometimes the designs like this one, social meetup resource, have a section named components, and you can find almost all of the components in here. So we have icons, keyboards, status bar, indicator, page titles, cards, and other stuff that is usually used more than once in this UI kit. The designer actually designed them just for once, then saved them as a component. For example, here we have this search icon, and let's say we are designing a project and we need this icon on 10 different artboards. So instead of designing it once and then every time we want to use it we have to go back to the first artboard or the last artboard that we have used it and copy it from there, then go all the way back to the artboard that we are designing on and then paste it over there. Instead of all that operations, we can just save this element search icon as a component. Then with a click and drag from our assets panel, we can have that in the artboard that we are designing. We can find the list of our components here in the assets panel. We have icons, card is here, indicator, icons, back arrows, buttons, cards, and other stuff like that. If we hover on this components, we can see how many times they have been used in the design. For example, this one has been used twice in the design, and if we want to see where it's been used, we can just do a right click, and then we have this feature, highlight on canvas. I'm going to click on it, and then if we explore a little bit, we can find it here. So this component is used 2 times throughout this design on these 2 artboards. And if you look closely, it's one of the best things about Adobe Xd. Each of these components have a unique design for themselves. We can see they have 2 different pictures. For example, right here, I'm going to alter this text, holding down Command, selecting the text, double click to edit it, then let's type in. So we have one component used in 2 different artboards, and it has its unique content every time that it has been used. We can do a lot with components because of this feature, and since we have a universal edit system like we had in colors and character styles in the assets panel, there will be way more things that we can do with them. In order to understand this concept better, I'm going to create another artboard just next to artboard posts, grab the artboard tool, going to click and drag. I've never done it before on this course, but let's do it. And then in order to use a component on our design, we just come here to the assets panel, then click and then drag it out on the design that we have. Since the component has a white background and our artboard has a white background right now, I'm going to select the artboard and change its fill. For example, let's go with this one. Before going on, let's see the other stuff that we have here. We have post, we have a keyboard, we have header, map avatar, button, background dark, background white, data, card, and we have another component named post image here. So I don't know what it is. Let's just drag it out here. They look alike so much. I think that this one was the alternate version, since it doesn't have that much of a rounded corner to it, and it has a different icon for the comments, but it's the alternate version since it's not been used on the canvas. So I'm going to delete this one and go with the addition that the designer used for this UI kit. All right, let's check the rest here. Button, back arrow, and keyboard dark, and stuff like that. All right, let's go back to what we were doing, understanding why the components play such an important role in our design. Here, if I just right click on my components and then click on this one, reveal components in assets, then we have some different elements highlighted here, and that's because this component itself is created by other components. So we have components within components. Here we have heart icon, the comment icon, share icon, and this one is the main one. Right now our assets panel is a little bit crowded, and we can use the search feature here. I'm going to search post image right now. Okay, so we have the components that we want to talk about right here, and we are not distracted by the other ones. So right now our component is selected on the canvas, and as you can see, we have a green decoration around it instead of blue, which we had almost for every element, and we have those handles around it in order to resize our shape. But something catches the eye here. We have this diamond shape thing here on the top left of our selected components, and we haven't had that before. I'm going to select the same component here on this artboard, and as you can see, we have that diamond as well, but there is a dot in the middle of that. I'm going to select this one too, and this one has that dot within itself too. Let's understand what does it mean here with this component. Let's say that we don't like the white background color here, and we want to use a color that catches the eyes, and we want to go with something bold. So I'm going to select the background and then change the color to something like yellow. We want to catch some eye here. And right now this component's color is changed to yellow. If I select it, as you can see, that dot appears on the middle of the diamond. But let's say we want to do a universal edit. So in order to do that, we have to edit the master component. In order to access the master component, I'm going to select this component here, then right click on it. Then we have this option here, edit main components. I'm going to click it, and then we have this component created on our canvas. I'm going to move it to this artboard here. Since we're talking here, we have a green diamond at the top left for this component, and it shows us that this one is the master. So we have three kinds of diamonds here: a green one, a white one with a dot within it, and then we have just the white one. The master component looks so much like the default components. As you can see, the other ones have some alternations to them. This one has a different photo, this one has a different photo and a different text, this one has a different background, but these two guys are the same. So that dot is over there to tell us that, hey, you had some alternation for this component and this doesn't look like the master component anymore. So it's not a default version. If we want to apply a universal edit to our design, we have to apply it on the master components. I'm going to select it, and then by double clicking on it, I'm going to access the background. Let's change this color to, I don't know, for example, this color over here. And as you can see, the changes are applied to all the other ones except from the one that we have changed the background color before. The reason is that this component doesn't have a white background. We rewrite it to yellow. The master component's background color was changed from white to this color that it has now, not yellow. So That's why the edit doesn't apply to the one that we have changed its background color before. In order to apply the changes that we have right now to that one, I'm going to select it, then right click on it. We have reset to main state. If I click here, then we have the same background color as the master component, and that dot right over there, which showed us that this component was edited, is gone right now. But I'm going to undo what I did for now and let it be an example over there. Let's go further. I'm going to select it, and then let's delete this footer, and I'm going to resize this one, for example, this much. All right, so I did some alternation to that, but none of the others were changed because we didn't edit the master one, and we can do alternations to each of the components individually. All right, so let's do some universal edit here. Let's say we showed this design to the stakeholders and they said it's cool, but let's go for the all corners being rounded in the photo part. So in order to do that, I'm going to select this photo and then move this handle here. Then let's go with this design. Awesome. Right now it's applied to all of the other cards as well. It is even applied to that card, and the reason is we didn't change the properties of that rectangle. We just changed its size, and the properties were the same. We didn't override them, so the changes are applied there as well. We can move other things around here. Let me select this name. Let's put it in the middle, for example. Let's go here, and that's perfect. But let's say I want to move this date. I'm going to select it in the middle, and as I do that, you can see nothing happened. It's a direct order from our master component, but it's not applied to other components. The reason is that this avatar name and date are a part of other components. So like we said before, we have a component within a component. In order to have the date align in the middle, we have to select this component here and then right click on it. Then we have edit master component or edit main component. It is created over here for us. I'm going to zoom in here a little bit. Then I'm going to select this date and then move it around. And as you can see, it is moving around on all of the cards as well. So let's place it in the middle. Actually, I faced a bug doing this operation. I don't know why it is happening. I can move it around and it is applying on all the cards except from the main component. So for example, let's say we put it here, and when we select this component within that main component that we were designing, and I'm going to right click here, I'm going to click on revert to main state, and this creepy thing would happen. I have no idea why it happens. Maybe it's a bug, but I don't know. I will report it later after this video. I'm going to undo what I did for now. So components are awesome. They really help us with our design. Using the full potentials they have to offer could really benefit our design process. Let's go back to the file that we were working on. And if you remember, we have created this close button here. Let's make it a component. I'm going to select it. Then I'm going to open the assets panel. I can make it a component from here or here, or just right click on it, and then we have make components from here as well. You're going to use the shortcut key most of the time, but as you saw, you have some options for yourself. I'm going to click on here, and right now this element is known as a component because of the green decoration around it, and it appears there on our assets panel. Right now this one is a main component. We can say that from that green diamond that it has. When I'm designing, I always delete the massive one and drag in another one here, drag in another component into my design, because sometimes when you want to apply specific changes, you might accidentally apply universal changes. So remove the main one and drag a default component to your design in order to prevent that. We can almost make components of everything that we see in our design. For example, this star rating, I'm going to select all of them. Then I'm going to come here, components. I'm going to make them a component. We can do it with this circle. Then again, make component. It's the main component. So I'm going to delete it and replace it with this one in order to prevent any problems that would occur during the design. So that was the components, one of the most important aspects of designing in Adobe Xd. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe for more content.